Hi guys, Asmo here, and this is the criminal seminar. We're doing this live on Twitch, and this is going to be also uploaded to YouTube. In this seminar slash guide, I'm gonna basically talk about everything that I know about Heist. I'm gonna explain some of the elusive, tricky, and unintuitive mechanics that Heist has. Oh, that's a very cute corgi. We're gonna basically also demonstrate how I run Heist and basically share with you everything like around Heist that you need to know. So I'm going to basically assume that you have like some basic understanding of Heist. So I'm not gonna explain what are contracts and what are blueprints and so on. So we're gonna start from some like very fundamental understanding that you can get yourself, and just talk about Heist in the context of making currency. It is one of the most profitable strategies for making currency in terms of farming currency. It is not as good as crafting and flipping, but it is basically S tier of the farming strategies. It's as good as the best mapping strategies. There are people who are more efficient and play more hours than me, and we basically got Mage Blood at the same time. I got Mage Blood at like day 6 of this league. I had Mage Blood from purely just farming Heist. So I know a thing or two about farming it, and basically I'm gonna share everything in this guide. Number one thing is the build choice. A lot of people think that you have to play a very specific build, but it's more of like you have to meet specific conditions, right? So number one thing that you want from your build is to be really fast, and number two, you want it to not die. Okay, so you need to meet specific requirements in terms of defense. What helps a lot is having really high evasion or block. Having really high avoidance is great, and then you also need phasing. Phasing is one of the things that is super useful in Heist, and it's one of the reasons why Raider with permanent phasing is the premier choice for Heist, because basically every single other class has to have it in some kind of a conditional way. It's either coming from a flask, and you can have things like reduced flask charges gained on some modifiers on blueprints and things like that. So basically the only way to get like permanent, consistent, 100% time on demand phasing. But phasing is very important. It allows you to basically avoid so much of the damage, go quicker, never get stuck on any of the traps or monsters. There are like huge packs of monsters, so phasing is super important. So also the speed where you want to be unconditional, right? Like you don't want to rely on things like Avatar of the Slaughter, right? Which will allow you to get like movement speed when you stack frenzy charges, unless you're using something like Farul's Fur to permanently have those charges up. You don't want to have like a ramp up time or effects that are on kill. You get some movement speed, because oftentimes you don't really want to kill monsters in Heist. You just want to go in and out and only kill monsters while you're waiting for the doors to open. And doing that and doing very easy maps to get the Heist content, you can reach very high levels as well, because your character is not allowed to die. You're gonna have a basic level of defense, and I get my character to level 98 while not really trying to level, right? So by the nature of not dying, you're also gonna be leveling, so it's really good for leveling your character as well. So yes, you want high movement speed, on-demand permanent phasing, ideally 100% spell suppression, which is going to help you against some of the more bursty spells that are going to be hitting you, high evasion or block, and then you want some physical or chaos mitigation also to be up to par, so often you want to run determination. My personal choice is the TR Raider. You can find build guides for different versions that I've played in the previous leagues on my YouTube channel as well for this build, and you can basically look at my profile and see what do I have on this character. I made basically like a mini diary of the league start where I was showing my character and the content that I was running. You can check that out as well, and it's gonna give you an idea of what kind of stats you're looking for when you want to do Heist very efficiently, and look that up. So next let's talk about getting started. So early on in the Heist league, you want to basically level up all of your rogues, and nowadays the infinite Heist strategy is no longer something we can do. There is no longer the option to delever your character and therefore reset the shop and just keep buying contracts. So instead what we're doing is we're waiting until we're level 60, and then from level 60 every level you can buy contracts from Wakano, and level that way. You can basically skip the campaign until you're like level 70 or 70 something, just doing contracts and leveling through that, and you're gonna get a ton of chaos. You can buy yourself a 6 link, you can buy yourself like whatever unique that you need that costs a divine or 2 divines. You can very easily get like great starting currency by doing Heist at the beginning of the league, and you can level some of your rogues. The order of doing Heist I can show you on the screen here. This is the order in which you are unlocking the rogues, right? So you first run Karst, then you also unlock Hack by running Karst, then you run Hack to unlock Niles, then you run Niles to unlock Vendiri, Vendiri to unlock Gianna, and then separately you have like a second chain. It's like a quest chain, right? The second one is the Tibbs unlocks Tulina, and Tulina unlocks Tenet, because Tibbs and Karst are available from the beginning. And here it showcases basically which contracts are best. So at the beginning, when you're like starting to do this league mechanic at the league start, you want to focus on lockpicking contracts to get the supplies, to get like scour, chances, alchemies, and things like that, to be able to purchase more contracts. And then you want to do demolition contracts because these bring the most currency. So demolition contracts and lockpicking contracts are going to enable you to unlock basically every single rogue except for Vendiri. And to unlock Vendiri, you're going to need to run deception or counter thaumaturgy. Let me just mute the sound here because there are some people spamming some abilities. Okay, and so deception or counter thaumaturgy is the one contract that you're going to have to run to unlock this. Other than that, you just stick to lockpicking and demolition, and that's going to be what you want to do in the beginning. After that, you progress to your maps when you're like level 70 something, right? Or however many Heist contracts you want to do, that's how many you do. And then you want to do the green quests as well. The green quests are basically free contracts that are going to enable you to quicker level your rogues, because you're going to have access to lots of these contracts. And they are also enabling you to get access to the unique contracts. Unique contracts such as, for example, the twins, right? So the twins contract, at the beginning of the league, I was actually one of the first people who had access to them. Nobody else finished the Heist quests yet, so I was basically the only person who was selling that, and I was selling the twins for 1 divine because people wanted to access to the amulet that was dropping out of that, and I was able to sell the twins for 1 divine, even though now it costs like 10 chaos, right? Other than the twins, there is a bunch of other unique contracts, but apart from the beginning of the league and just doing them to get a little bit of currency early on, they are not worth running or selling really, or picking up even. So I basically skip those and just pick up the twins. This is like half a divine worth of this contract, and you can run it if you want and get some good luck. You can drop an amulet. Okay, let's set the D&D as well because people want to trade me. Okay. So now we talk about the quests, we talk about the unique contracts, how to effectively level the rogues. Whenever you have a contract, what you want to do is you want to run it with the rogue that is the lowest level. So for example, if this is level 3. If both of my guys were, or let's say this was like level 1 contract, okay? And this guy was level 2 and this guy was level 4. I'm gonna run it with the level 2 guy, right? Because I want to bring it up to speed. I want more of my rogues to be capable of running more of the contract. So you always run the contract with the guy who's the lowest level who can run it. And that way you're gonna be able to quickest level your rogues up. You can also choose to like roll gear. There are modifiers on the gear that allow you to get extra experience. So experience, you can have these modifiers increase the job experience gain. These are actually pretty powerful multipliers. So if you're really struggling with leveling these rogues, you can just equip some gear. If you find it, I find it not really worth rolling for because it's pretty quick to level all of your rogues. So I wouldn't really bother with spending time on doing that. So that's how you level your rogues. Leveling your rogues is pretty important before you start doing blueprints, because in the blueprints you want to have like access to any rogue that you want to run, right? Run contracts from the lowest level rogue to the highest. So let's talk about the rogue gear. Rogue gear is pretty important, and it makes a very big difference when you start entering blueprints. If you don't have any rogue gear or any decently rolled rogue gear, it's gonna feel vastly different than if you have fully decked out rogues. When you have fully decked out rogues with all the good gear, you're going to basically look at them like go just 10 times faster than normally. These things stack together, so if you have like 3 rogues and one of the wings, all of the bonuses, for example, to the job speed, they are kind of global, right? So they stack and you get them multiplied. So let's look at the gear. This is, for example, Karst has pretty optimized gear. He's one of my best rogues right now in terms of how geared he is. So let's look at the stuff that we want to have. We want to have a precise arrowhead, or if you have, for example, Hack, he can only have level 3 jobs here, so that would be fragmenting arrowhead. that grants level 15 haste skill. Okay, level 15 haste skill applies to you as well as all the other rogues. So having that is basically allowing me to not run haste, and I can focus on other auras while my rogues focus on running the haste. This is also available even in maps, right? Because hack uses this in your maps when you have this node enabled, right? The dutiful soldier. Hack accompanies you on opening the first smuggler's cache in each of your maps. This makes hack spawn whenever you open the smuggler's cache. He tanks for you, like he can tank a map boss, for example, and he's invincible, so you can basically act as if you're having a minion and not take damage yourself. He also gives you like a powerful buff that's kind of like an onslaught. It gives you increased attack damage, attack speed, and movement speed. And then of course he grants you the bonuses from the gear that he has, so it could be other auras. For me, I choose to run the haste skill, so that's what he has, right? Level 15 haste, basically for free in your maps. Other than that, on the arrowhead you can also roll job speed. That's the most powerful modifier that you can have outside of the haste skill. Job speed is really strong. It allows you to basically do your contracts and blueprints faster. And then there are also things like reduced travel fee and all of like reduced cost of hiring the rogues, things like that. That's also helpful, but it's not really important. Aim for number 1 level 15 haste. And number 2, aim for job speed. You can basically roll these with alterations, right? So you grab one of these, you roll it with alterations, augmentations, scour, regal, and then if you don't get anything good, you just go again. So that's how you roll this gear that goes for everything that is here. If you want to check what is the required item level for these, for example, you can go to POEDB, right? So this is precise arrowhead. So we can go to POEDB, and on POEDB you can basically check everything related to heist. So we can just type precise arrowhead, and it's gonna show us the item. Then we can look at the modifiers, and then we can see where is the haste, level 15 haste. It shows you level 75, right? So item level 75 to get the level 15 haste. So that's what you need if you want to roll that. Very easy, you can check that for any of the other items. And next we got the foliate brooch. So basically this is on every single character that I'm using, right? Like you can see everybody has the arrowhead, right? Everybody has the precise arrowhead. Level 15 haste, level 15 haste, you know, level 10 actually on this one. We got haste, we got haste, we got haste. Everybody's using it. Same thing with this, right? Foliate brooch. This gives you some extra rarity, which doesn't really matter. The things that you're looking on the brooch are chance to duplicate contain basic currency. And that includes stacked decks, because stacked decks very importantly count as basic currency, and you drop a lot of them in heist. And then job speed. So those are the 2 main modifiers that you want. And then if you have a rogue that you're running out of contracts with, such as Gianna for example, you can use a modifier such as increased rogue marker value of primary heist target. And that modifier will basically increase the amount of rogue markers that you're getting from the contract after returning and selling the target to the fence. This is pretty powerful. It's basically 20% more rogue markers from running contracts, and your main source of rogue markers, apart from buying them from other people, is the contracts. So that is a very powerful modifier. Then next we have the cloak. On cloak you have 2 options. Basically you either get the chance on opening chest not generate alert level, or you have the other option, which is the reduced raising of alert level from opening chest. So as you can see, this one, they're basically the same multiplier, but they have like different breakpoints, right? Like this one is more consistent, the reduced raising of alert, because it's like consistent reduction, so you always know what you're getting. And this one is like a proc chance, right? I prefer myself the reduced raising of alert level from opening chest. It doesn't give you the option to get like lucky and multiple times in a row not hit the alert, but at the same time it's more consistent. You know how much alert you have, and they also roll higher because they go to 12% and these go only to 10%. Or do they? This actually, no, this is reduced level. No, I'm looking at the wrong character. Yeah, this one, T1 goes to 10%, exactly. So this one goes to 10%, the other one goes to 12%, so I prefer the reduced raising of alert. But this one is also great. And then the other modifier is the job speed, so that's what you want. The job speed is basically gonna make all of your rogues faster. And then last item is the individual slot that is based on the job, and this one is especially powerful on Gianna. You want +1 to level of all jobs for heist. So if you look at the levels here that we have, these show level 6, level 3, level 4. But when I take it off, 5, 2, 3. So this is pretty important because it allows you to run higher level perception contracts and higher level counter thaumaturgy contracts, which is a lot of them, that basically allow you to get the extra reveals, right? So by being able to run more contracts as Gianna, you're getting more reveals, you're saving the rogue markers, right? Because every single Gianna reveal is worth roughly 2,000 rogue markers, which depends on the economy. It might be worth, yeah, it's like 4 chaos, 5 chaos, it depends, right? So something like 5 chaos usually is like rough estimate. So being able to get the extra 5 chaos every time you run a contract is really nice on top of the reward that you're getting at the end. And then when you want to focus on the blueprints, you want to get these on all of the rogues that you want, right? So you want to put it on Vindiri. So Vindiri has +1 to level of all jobs for Heist, so that you can put him in level 3 engineering jobs, so you can have him more often in the engineering jobs, blueprints. And then also Kars, Tenet, and Tulina. All of those 3 rogues, they have the chance to, they have less raising of alert level. This is 23, this is 16, and Kars has 45. But as you can see, if I take this off, it's 40, right? So even that +1 level going to level 6 increases this chance. And same for Gianna. If you look at the reduced blueprint revealing cost, 35, 30. Right, so this increases this level and it's very, very helpful. So that's when it comes to the rogue gear. In order to get this gear, again, the requirement I think is item level 82 to get the +1 to level of all jobs. You just put it in here. Just type, do all jobs, right? So that it highlights when you hit the all jobs, and just spam alterations until you get it. It's roughly, I think, 1 in 200 something to hit it, right? So it's not that bad. You can also buy it from trade if you don't feel like rolling. But that's basically it when it comes to the rogue gear. Okay, so what do we have next on the agenda? How to get the contracts and blueprints. Okay, so this is something that you have basically 2 ways to go about, right? You can buy them from trade side or TFT, or you can source them yourself. The benefit of buying them from trade side is that you can focus only on one specific thing like that you're doing, right? So if you have a build that cannot really kill monsters, cannot do maps, and you're just running with this like decoy totem playstyle, which I'm personally not a fan of. I don't think that's a good playstyle or a good way to play Heist. But if you're doing something like that, then you're just going to be basically forced to buy these from TFT or from a trade side and do it in bulk. So you can do that, but I think the better way to acquire them is to farm them yourself. And the benefits of acquiring them yourself are just, there is a lot of those benefits. So I'm going to basically show you how I source the contracts myself just from scratch so that you get everything that you need to know. First thing is the skill tree, right? So you want to make sure that you're, if you want to focus on Heist like exclusively, right? You block every single mechanic except for Heist. You get all of the map sustain nodes. You can get also some extra spare points into missions. Like for example, I'm just stacking a bunch of June missions. I got like 68 June missions right now. Also run Stream of Consciousness to have higher amount of smuggler stashes. And then we're picking up everything here. This is basically chance for smuggler's cash. Plus the hack that I was talking about before. And then in here we want to pick the finer arts, because not only the deception contracts are very powerful, but also the engineering contracts are very powerful, and I'm gonna show you why later, okay? And then also here you can pick, if you're still leveling your rogues, Heist are more likely to require level 3 jobs. This will make them actually less likely to be the higher level, or you can get the higher level, because higher level of contracts is increasing the chances for multiple big chests in the locked rooms, right? So for example, if you're doing a Gianna contract and you have deception and you have stack decks in there, you're gonna have rooms that have either 1 or 2 chests. So level 5 contracts will have a higher chance of having more of these big rooms and more of the rooms with 2 chests. And then also more likely to be high value targets, or more likely to be precious. This way you're gonna be getting tons of precious targets. This basically indicates how many rogue markers are you going to be getting at the end. And then here we're picking all of these nodes. This is basically giving you the jackpot map. The jackpot map is basically 5% chance, so 1 in 20 maps you're going to have 6 additional smugglers caches, and then you get 10% increased chance to have a blueprint for each cache that you opened, and 10% more rogue markers for each smuggler's cache that you opened. And that basically means that the more you have in one map, right, the more of the smuggler stashes, the more you're gonna be getting per smuggler's cache, right? So it's good to stack them, right? And this gives you a more chance to drop blueprints and chance for those blueprints to be revealed as well. So that's basically the passive skill tree. So I'm gonna show you a couple of other things that you can do. You can run them with specific compasses. Okay, where's the juice? Okay, so we get specific compasses. There are two compasses that are worth running, and those are basically all the compasses that exist for Heist. One is the smuggler's cache. So let me put them on. So this is basically additional smuggler's cache. The way you want to evaluate the cost of that, whether it's worth buying or not, is you look at Heist on the map device. This is basically 3 chaos per smuggler's cache. So this is 4 smuggler's caches, so that means roughly 12 chaos if this would be worth running with this, right? So this is roughly equivalent to 12 chaos if you were to pay for this. So if it costs more than 12 chaos, maybe not worth running. If it costs less than 12 chaos, then it's probably worth running, right? So we're putting it on our maps. And then we're also doing the charged compass with non-unique Heist contracts found in your maps have an additional implicit modifier. And these implicit modifiers are not really available if you are trying to buy the contracts from other people, right? If you're trying to buy the contracts from other people, then this is not really something that's going to be available, because nobody who just runs the maps regularly themselves is going to be running this contract. So the only way to get these is to just do it yourself, right? And I have tons of contracts here that I farmed, but I'm going to show you an example map, right? And then we got an example map. There is also a modifier that is implicit on a map that his area contains an additional smuggler's cache. This is a pretty rare thing to find. It's not really worth hunting or buying. However, I just wanted to let you know that something like this exists, right? And then you can run these maps wide. It doesn't really matter. The quantity doesn't change anything other than just like regular drops in your map that you're getting, which can be contracts or blueprints, right? So that's why we're running this. All right, one sec. Let me just, okay. So now we're gonna run this map, and you're gonna quickly see how much stuff we're getting out of this, right? So we got one smuggler's cache, we got another, we got coins. Also, am I running the right trinket? I am not running the right trinket. Okay, so we have 2 trinkets here. I'm just gonna put on the right one. I'm gonna talk about them in a moment, because there's a trinket that basically allows you to drop more coins, more rogue markers in your maps from the smuggler's caches. There we go, we got a blueprint. We can clear the boss if we want. It's not really necessary. But as you can see, Huck is tanking for me here. So he's helping. We got the buff. As you can see here, you deal increased damage, increased attack speed, cast speed, and movement speed. And by getting these yourself, you're also farming the invitations, which is going to give you some extra source of currency. These unique contracts at this point, this is worth, let's see, like 2-3 chaos, so this is not really worth picking up. But we're getting tons of contracts, tons of blueprints by just farming it ourselves, tons of coins as well. And the value of these contracts and blueprints, as I'm going to show in a moment, is vastly different than the ones that you're going to be buying yourself, right? So that's basically what we're doing, and the map is done, right? And you just repeat that and just very, very quickly farm it. So we got a blueprint and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 contracts. We got some perception, deception, we got some traps, we got some trinkets and currency. This is a fully revealed blueprint, right? So for this one, you won't have to spend any other extra rogue markers. So this is just a fully revealed blueprint that you can just run right away. All right, so that's how we are sourcing this. Atlas 3 choices, sextant, okay. So now let's talk about the contracts and which contracts do you actually want to run, because this is something that people ask a lot as well. So let's go to maybe the Rogue Harbor, and let me show you how I basically select all of the contracts. So you can type in here search words, and the first thing that you want to do is to run probably your Gianna contracts, right? So you can choose to run them like one type at a time, or you can run all of them at the same time. So if you want to select all of the Gianna contracts at the same time and get all of them from your Heist locker, this is what you do. You do deception, then you do this sign, this vertical line that is like above your enter on your keyboard most likely, and then you do perception, okay, and then you do counter, okay, and this is gonna show all of the deception, perception, and counter thaumaturgy contracts, and then you basically go through like perception level 5. So you can put this to the right side here. That's gonna let you know that this is a perception level that she cannot run. So she cannot run perception 4 and 5, right? So all of the other ones you can run, right? So this is perception 5, she cannot run that. Perception 3 is good. Counter, this is good. Counter 5, she cannot run that, right? And you just basically go through that, and you can have full inventory of the contracts to run, right? So that's how you select for the Gianna contracts. Then next type of contract that you want to select for are, for example, very valuable trap duplication contracts, right? So I'm going to show you one of those, but basically you type engineering, sorry, not trap are worthless one, engineering, and then you want to type duplicate, okay? And this is gonna show you engineering contracts that have 100% chance to duplicate their contents, right? And this is super, super powerful because engineering contracts have give you access to map chests. Map chests will often drop influenced maps such as Conqueror maps, and then they have 100% chance to guarantee duplication. So you're gonna open one of those, and if it drops the Conqueror map, for example, that's like 70 chaos right there with all of the stuff that's gonna be in it, right? So it's very, very powerful, and I'm gonna show you how I run this as well. So you select for these valuable ones. If you also have a trinket that is chaos to divine, which is a very expensive trinket, but if you have that trinket, then that enables other things that you also might want to run, right? So that would be, for example, lockpicking duplication, right? So you might start to do the same thing. Lockpick, duplicate, okay, and then you're gonna run also these, right? 100% chance to duplicate contents, and also lockpicking, right? So those also would be worth running if you have the trinket. If you don't have the trinket, then the lockpicking are not really worth your time, and it's better to focus on Gianna and on blueprints. And then the third type of contracts that you want to be running are going to be the priceless and precious with the rogue marker value. So you type priceless, right? And you can select all the priceless contracts. Priceless basically means they're going to give you a huge amount of these rogue markers, and then you can do precious 200%, and that's going to select the precious contracts with 200% more rogue marker value of the primary heist target. So it's not only going to be the increased value of the precious one, but it's also going to be tripled because of this implicit modifier, right? So let's talk about the implicit modifiers and these enchants, because this is something that is very, very overlooked in Heist. So I'm going to show you some examples of them that I have prepared here. We've got these contracts. So here we got, for example, a Perception 3 contract. And normally a Perception 3 contract, if you're just like a regular person who just tries Heist, it would be pretty much worthless, right? It would just, we won't even sell it for 1 chaos probably, right? So it's pretty worthless. But this, with this enchant and with the Gianna item, we can actually run the Perception 3. And so that means we can run this with Gianna, and we're generating 3 additional reveals. So normally when you run contract with Gianna, she generates reveals for herself and for Wakano, so you get 2. But with this one, you get 5. So you're basically getting Gianna reveal and then 4 Wakano reveals for just running this one contract, right? So that's absolutely insane. The next enchant we have is the Rogue perks are doubled, okay? Rogue perks are doubled works with Gianna reveal as well. So if you look at this is basically the Rogue perk, right? So whatever is here is gonna be doubled. So if I run this with, if I run a contract with this implicit modifier with Karst, it's gonna be 90% less raising of alert level from opening chests. So you just open everything indiscriminately, right? Which already is the case if you have good gear with Karst anyway, without that enchant even. But if you run this with Gianna, you get 2 Gianna reveals. So you get 3 reveals for this. You get 2 Gianna reveals, so instead of getting 5 chaos value, you get 10 chaos value, plus the rogue marker value, plus the value of the stack decks, and plus the Wakano reveal, right? So you're getting 3 reveals, including 2 Gianna reveals instead of just 1. So that's really, really nice. And then we've got another one, which is the rogue marker value. And this is an example of one that is on the price list. So I'm going to show you actually an example of that, right? And I'm going to also show and demonstrate a little bit how I run these contracts. So we're going to put this, actually, I'm just going to show you also like an efficient way of running them. So we got engineering contract here. That is the duplication. That's one thing that I want to show. And then we've got the rogue marker value. So let's show you first the rogue marker value. We're going to select Gianna. Gianna also has the brooch that has the 20% increased chance. So we're just gonna see how many rogue markers we can actually get from that, right? And because this is a deception contract, right, we are going to be able to just run out of this very, very easily. So I'm not opening the other chests that have just regular gear in them, right? The armor icon, it's not really worth opening. At the beginning of the league, you might try your luck. You can get potentially some synthesized bases, you can get some good stuff, but on average, it's not really worth opening, right? So we just open all of the small ones, and then we go and grab the end target, pick it up, and then just run out of here as quickly as we can. We don't need to open any doors. We can pick up some jewelers, why not? And we're out. And basically, whenever I'm running like chain running contracts, first thing I do is I talk to this guy again. Okay, for the duplication, you want to pick up Isla because the duplication chance doesn't add with the Vendiri one, right? You cannot quadruple or triple your item. Duplication caps at 100%. It's like just like double damage mod on gear, right? It only goes up to 100%, doesn't go to 120 or whatever. So this is useless. So that's why we're running Isla, because we want the lockdown timer to be longer, and I'm gonna show you why, right? So as soon as I enter the rogue town, right, the rogue harbor, exiting the contract, talk to this guy, select the job, start contract, and then we sell 15k. 15k rogue markers, right? For a single job. So that's why these enchants are so powerful if you know how to select the right ones. Still, like a lot of your contracts are gonna be worthless and you're gonna just want to sell them. But if you select the right ones, you're gonna be running so many contracts that are very, very valuable, right? So 15k is roughly, what is it? 1000 is like 2 chaos. So that's like 30 chaos, right? 30 chaos worth of rogue markers. Plus you get a Gianna reveal, plus you get a Wakano reveal, plus normally you get a bunch of stack decks as well, right? So now let's showcase the other valuable contract, which is the engineering contract, okay? But this one actually does not have the map. I want to showcase one with the maps, but I'm gonna show you how I run this. So basically the way I do this, I go to the end because you wanna finish at the beginning, right? So that you don't have to go through all of the doors. So basically we go open these mystery chests. The map chests are the ones that you're really after. So I might like just do a little showcase later. Okay, and this is duplication. So we got all of these things again. And then we're basically working our way backwards and opening everything on the way. And because we have like pretty decent gear, we can open everything. We can open this. Everything is basically gonna drop twice out of this. Okay, this one pretty much has no loot. Of course, when we're doing showcase, we're not dropping anything. And you can open everything. You can open the uniques if you want. The uniques are most of the time not gonna drop anything useful. I would say like maybe 90 or over 90% of the time it's not gonna be anything useful. However, if it is going to be something useful, something like worth like 50 chaos, 1 divine or whatever, then you're gonna drop 2 of them, right? So that's the benefit of that. Like whatever jackpot hit you're gonna hit, it's gonna be multiplied by 2, right? So that's the power of the duplication. So let's try to find another one with duplication just so you can see the maps. So we do ng duplicate, okay? So we got engineering, duplication, all right, and then pick up Isla, and let's just look for a map box, just so I can show you like rough value of the map box, even if it's like super low roll. Okay, this one has maps, so we can go and pick it up. When rogues do their jobs, you can also just do other stuff, right? So you always don't want to be idle. You want to like pick up other chests and open them and so on. Kill monsters while you're doing it.
Map sexton.
Okay, why is this not dropping anything? Okay, these are the things hidden by the loot filter, but still we're dropping like a pitiful amount of loot. But trust me guys, it's worth it. These are like the two worst fucking contracts that I run in this league with that mechanic. Yo, let's run another one. 3 times the charm. And you can open everything on the way, by the way, but I don't want to do this for the just to not take too much time for doing this. Do we have maps? We don't have maps. Let's try the last one that we have. We also should have some maps in the blueprints that I'm gonna showcase. But in general, when it comes to like the valuing, okay, I guess I can use this time to talk about that. When it comes to valuing the different rewards, normally maps would be number 1, stack decks, the divination card rewards would be number 2, and currency would be number 3, right? So maps would be like S tier, and then the other ones would be A tier. And if you get the Chaos to Divine Trinket, then the currency ones become better, right? So, but this is like, this is like an average drop that doesn't have anything special, right? So you get like 4 maps, couple sextants, right? So what is like a Crimson Temple, or what is this T16 map worth? Like this is like 3 chaos, 4 chaos. So you get like, what is it, like 12 chaos, plus a couple of these, which are worth like 3 chaos. So it's like 18 chaos or something like that. So you get like 10-15 chaos very, very easily out of them on average, right? On average. And then you get the big hits where you get tons of loot, because you get like way more maps than that. Sometimes you get the influenced maps, you get sextants, you get chisels, you get Harby orbs and things like that, right? So they're very much worth running and opening, and you get tons of rewards from them. And especially when you get this duplication, right? So that's just something that I wanted to show, that is something that is undervalued. I run, I think I bought from someone for 5 chaos a bunch of these contracts, and then I made like 6 or 7 times the amount of currency from running half of them, right? Because I didn't even finish running all of them. So they're very, very valuable. They're very nice contracts to run. What else? What are other contracts that we can run? I think this is all when it comes to the contracts. Let me quickly look. Okay, another thing I can talk about contracts is the rolling them, right? That's a super common question as well. Do you run them? Why do you roll them? So I'm gonna once and for all clarify does quantity affect chest or does it not affect chest? Okay, so I have done myself testing with this. I have read testing made by other people as well. And there is a very specific distinction between specific chests and specific types of item quantity. So whenever you are rolling your chests, your contracts or maps, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Like it could be map, it could be contract, it could be any league mechanic. The item quantity that is on the zone, right? So whenever you're entering this zone, it's gonna be here on the right side. You're gonna be able to read how much increased item quantity you have. This is applied to chests that have random rewards, right? And that means the small chests, everything that is locked behind the door that has specific league icon on top of it, that is like, you know, Delirium or the divination cards or the currency. These things are not affected by this quantity modifier. But the small chests that you're running past on the corridors are affected by the quantity modifier. But they are not affected by the quantity modifier on your character. So if you have increased item quantity on your character coming from the gear, that will not apply to them. So only the area quant and only to the small chests. That applies, okay? That works. That has been tested many times. You can even if you just run a few contracts, you're gonna notice very, very easily. If you just run like 10 contracts wide, and then you run 10 contracts and you roll them to like 75 plus quantity, you're gonna notice that with one of them, like I actually literally did this right yesterday. With one of them, you're gonna drop some loot, and then with the other one, with the rolled ones, you're gonna have like 2 times or 3 times more loot, very, very easily, right? Because you're gonna have tons of random stuff coming from those small boxes. However, the big boxes are unaffected. So if you're only opening the big boxes, this absolutely does not affect it. So if you have a character that absolutely does not care about any map mods, absolutely does not care about any mods on these contracts, then you might as well just roll them and run them rolled to open the small boxes and get some extra loot from them. It's not going to be that much loot, it's not going to be anything spectacular, but it's going to be something extra. However, it is not bad to run these contracts scoured, but when it comes to the blueprints, we actually do want to make sure that we're rolling them, because that's a different story. Another thing I also want to talk about with contracts is estimating the value. I talked about that a little bit, but people are really like not believing that you're actually making currency while running contracts. Even if you're buying Gianna contracts from TFT for like 9 chaos each or something, you are making currency, right? As long as you're utilizing these coins or selling them even, but utilizing the reveals, you are making currency, right? And you can evaluate this by looking at the cost of a reveal by Gianna, cost of a reveal by Wakano. Cost of reveal by Gianna is roughly like 5 chaos discount, right? Per reveal. Then you're also getting roughly 5 chaos worth of rogue markers at the end of each contract, so that's 10 chaos by default. And then you also get loot on top of that, which includes with Gianna contracts mostly stack decks, and I have sold divines and divines worth of stack decks. Like, I just basically at this point I get to like 1,000 stack decks and then I sell them, right? So you just get to easily liquidate this into a real currency, so that's a very easy profit to be made. Okay, let's talk about blueprints now. Which blueprints do you run? This is another like super commonly asked question. Okay, so I'm gonna get a bunch of blueprints from my Heist locker, and then I'm gonna show you basically how I select for the blueprints and which blueprints are worth running, which blueprints are not worth running, and also which blueprints are worth splitting, because that's something else that you can do with blueprints. So let's grab all of them. Actually, not all of them are gonna fit into my inventory, and that's just stuff that was farmed today. So let's go into blueprints, drop them off. Minimum level of blueprints that I would run in the end game would be like level 81, because they still allow you to find like level 84 bases. Okay, so you can search first for the different jobs, right? So the 4 different jobs are the enchants, the trinkets, the gems, and replicas. At different points of the league, these have different value. In general, gems, the end reward is the most valuable on average. After that, it's probably the replicas, because these different experimental bases, they usually sell for like 9 chaos minimum, and this is like roughly what you're gonna be getting out of these trinket rewards. However, the trinket rewards also allow you to get things like, for example, delirium orbs, right? So I have like a bunch of delirium orbs, and I have not run delirium in my maps a single time, right? This is all from these blueprints. And then enchants give you things like tailoring orbs, tempering orbs. I sold tailoring orb today, tempering orb yesterday. Tempering orbs are for like 3 divines right now, so if you hit that, that's going to be very expensive as well. So all of these have decent rewards at the end, and the main factor is actually going to be the number of rewards, right? So I would basically start by running a specific type, because I like running one type at a time, right? So let's say I want to focus on trinkets first, right? If this was especially early in the league, I would focus on running trinkets first, because I want to unlock my trinket slot, and then I want to find some good trinkets, because these trinkets will help me in the future blueprints that I'm going to run. So I type trinket, right? And then we look through these, right? And for example, this looks like complete garbage, right? We're looking for currency, we're looking for maps, we're looking for divination cards, right? And then the extras would be like fragments and Harby. They're like, okay, they're like B tier, not really worth revealing, but worth opening if they're there. So this is complete trash, right? So I would put it here, and that's what I would sell on TFT. This is if you're buying blueprints on TFT. This is the type of trash you're going to be buying from me, okay? At least from me. I don't know about other people, but from me, you're going to be buying the complete trash that I don't want to run. Myself, I'm going to be running the fully revealed one, right? So I'm going to hold on to that. This is another fully revealed one. I'm going to hold on to that. This is complete trash. This is another fully revealed one. Awesome. Another fully revealed. Look at this. We had 4 fully revealed ones. This is 8 divination card rooms. That's also pretty good. 6 is not that great. 4, not that great. This is 3 maps and nothing else. This might be worth running quickly just to check out the maps. 7, that'll be something I would probably run. This I would not run, only 3. This only 4 also wouldn't run. Fully revealed one. How do we have so many fully revealed? This one is basically 10 good rewards, right? That the way you want to look at it, because it has 6 currency, 2 maps, and 2 divination cards, right? So 10 good rewards, that makes it a really good blueprint to run, right? And then we also have, this is like 8, which is okay. You can run that as well. So these contracts I would basically run, right? And that's how I select for them. If, for example, I got like contracts that have like, let's say, only like 4 good rooms, right? But they are like enchants. This is gonna go to the bottom of the line. But if they're gems, then actually I might run them, right? Because gems are on average a little bit more valuable with the end reward. So that has a little bit more weight. So that's how you wanna evaluate it. You wanna basically add the value of the end rewards that you are expecting, which again goes basically gems and then maybe replicas and then trinkets and then enchants on average. And then you want to evaluate all of the rooms that you have in there, right? And if you find something really juicy, right? Like you find something really juicy, such as this type of a blueprint, okay? This blueprint is basically a jackpot, right? You got 11 currency rewards, you got 4 divination card rewards, and these currency reward rooms are especially valuable. They become actually maybe better even than the divination card rooms once you get the trinket, which is the chaos orbs, chance to drop as divine orbs instead, right? So with this trinket, I actually highly prioritize the currency rooms, and you can split them. You can split them with the split beast, or you can split them with the fractured fossil. Right now, fractured fossil costs what is it, like 60 chaos, so they went actually up in price. They used to, I bought them for like 35 chaos or something like that. But that's what you can use, and you basically evaluate. By the way, for 60 chaos I would still split this, because it's definitely worth for me to run this, right? I would buy this blueprint for 60 chaos, which means it's worth to do this for me. The thing about splitting though is that if you reveal stuff beforehand, the new blueprint will not have those reveals, right? So you can still copy that, right? You can still copy the blueprint, but it's not going to have any of the new reveals. The fractured has to be revealed on its own, right? So I can show you, for example, if I go to Akano, blueprints, and we go to Gianna, reveal the wings, right? So now you can see it has 4 out of 4 wings revealed, and then we split it, and this one has 1 out of 4. The old one still has 4 out of 4, so we didn't lose anything, but the new one we have to reveal on its own as well, right? So you can copy these, you can split them, and how do you actually run blueprints then? Okay, so let me show you. The first thing you do, this is just a random blueprint. I'm gonna show you how I would run. The first thing you do is you start with Gianna and you reveal the wings. Revealing every single wing increases the cost of revealing future things by 20%, and revealing the rooms increases the cost of revealing things by 5%. Some people think you should do it in the order where you first reveal the rooms and then the wing and then the rooms and then the wing. Overall, it doesn't really matter, because if you're increasing a bigger number by 5% or a smaller number by 20%, it comes out to be about the same. So the thing that we're doing is basically we're spending Gianna first, then we're spending Wakano to reveal maps, currency, nothing here, currency, div card. That's what I would do here, right? And then if you have lots of Gianna contracts, like you can see I have almost the same amount, you can do the later, like if you have like 4 wings, the last 4th wing, I would maybe reveal with Gianna as well, right? Because I usually have more Gianna contracts than Wakano contracts for the purposes of like doing this type of a split where you only do wings with Gianna. So we unveiled everything, we like revealed everything, then we go to assign the jobs. How do you assign the jobs? Number 1, you want Vendiri everywhere for a chance to duplicate. Number 2, if you cannot have someone who reduces the alert, such as Karst or Tulina or Nanette, so in this one we would put Karst, but in this one we would put Tibbs. Tibbs can actually unlock 2 mechanical chests after the lockdown, which is really huge. So I'm going to show you that Tibbs is very powerful as well. Then we're going to go for Karst here as well, so we're going to do Tulina. You don't want to duplicate the same guy. Doing the same guy twice doesn't benefit you, so you always want to have multiple people. Then we're going to go Vendiri, and then we're going to go on the net. So you can look at the bonuses that they give. 23% and then 16. So of course Nenette is better than Tulina, but Karst is better than all of them. So that would be the dream team, right, for this job. So we got this approved, and then we want to roll this if there are wings that have a lot of rewards, because rolling the contracts and the blueprints reduces the amount of alert generation, right? So you can see a line that says alert level reduction, and this is 19%, right? And I cannot inflict exposure, whatever. If I have like super juicy contract, like the 11 currency blueprints, these I roll to like 30% alert level reduction, right? As long as you don't die, which you have to determine for yourself. So you don't want to pick mods that kill you. For me, it's basically fine against everything pretty much, but I don't run minus max, and I don't run a less evasion per alert level, because those two are the most creepy for me. So I avoid those, and then I also avoid the one that makes it so that alert is triggered immediately after you like open the last chest. That's really bad. And then also alert increases like every second or whatever. I also don't pick that. So let me show you a little bit about running the blueprints. I'm not gonna run the entire blueprint, but I'm gonna run the first wing and just showcase how I do that, so that you can basically get a good idea. First things is that you can use multiple rogues at once, right? So if you have a spot where you can have like two different icons of two different jobs that are visible, right? You can use multiple rogues. So you can have a rogue, you can like press this, like press your hotkey and do this multiple times, right? So you can have multiple rogues doing their job at once, and basically you don't need to wait for them, right? So as you can see, my rogues are pretty fast because I have a lot of the jobs. Okay, you can see we got demolition and we got lockpicking, right? So my hotkey is on 4 because I don't have to use my flask, so because we got mage battle already. So basically I'm gonna press this, and they're both doing it, right? So this guy is detonating, this guy opened this, and we didn't have to wait for them, right? So that was very nice. All right, let me go to another one where I can showcase something different, because I also want to showcase a trick with detonation or the demolition. So let's go down a bit, and there should be one here. We can do this here as well, right? I can do this job, and they're both doing their job at the same time, right? And I don't have to wait. So here we've got, okay, this is actually engineering. Okay, unfortunately not demolition. We're gonna look for demolition, and I'm gonna try to show you. Okay, we got Maze of the Minotaur as well. Nice. I'm gonna look for something that's gonna be with double demolition, which is not gonna be, maybe here. No, this is not gonna be demolition. Maybe essences. Essences are engineering, I think. We need to find like a double demolition job. Alright, let me go check the last wing, because there's like a cute animation console that I wanna explain as well, which saves a little bit of time. We got currency, we got div cards, and then on top there we got currency and div cards as well. Okay, let me run this wing as if I was running it actually normally, right? So the first thing you want to do is check which rogues you have with you, right, in each wing. So you check which rogues. I can see I have lots of alert reduction. This is the dream team. This is the best 3 rogue combo you can have. Then you check, okay, I opened 2 boxes, how much alert did it use? And then how many more do I have? So I can basically open like pretty much everything here, right? So based on that, you can judge how much stuff you can open, and then you just go and open everything. And then these ones, they have to be revealed because this is perception. Synthesized tempered foil. Not really useful with what dropped on it. Gonna pick all of that up. Pick this. And then this is agility, so you know there are gonna be lasers here, so you can be careful. You can run through the lasers if you have spell suppression or spell block, and a bunch of also physical mitigation helps against that. So you can test that for yourself, like if your character is tanky enough by doing this in contracts. My character is not quite there yet, almost. Like I can run through it and I'm mostly gonna be fine, but there is a risk of dying, so I wouldn't do it in the blueprint, but we can try for science. Okay, and these ones are, this is like actually like an enchanted, so you can just check, and very importantly, you want to open the saves. The saves have a very high rarity actually and quantity. They drop chaos very often, so often if you have the chaos to divine trinket, you're gonna be able to grab something good out of that, because they're gonna drop divines. You can sometimes you can skip this as well, right? Like I can pick this up, or I can skip it and just go back, right? So that's another option, right? But let me pick it up because I want to try to run through the laser, right? So my character is not tanky enough for it yet. Right, let me try and see if there is a job for the... Okay, I don't have actually my auras on this because I normally don't die, so I don't need to re-enable my auras. But I want to show you something else. Okay, we got like a full job here, but this is not the right wing for it. Okay, do we have like a full job? All right. So I want to show you that Tibbs can actually open big boxes even after the alert, right? Some people think he can open only like the small boxes, but he can totally open the big boxes as well, right? So I'm gonna just trigger the alert by picking up the target from the end. Okay, no tempering orb, cool. Open these safes as well. And then we're basically running out. And he can open the small ones pretty quickly. But then he can also open the big ones, see? So, unfortunately this one doesn't drop shit, that shows on the loot filter. But Tibbs can open the big ones. Okay, so with the demolition, I guess I'm gonna show you without having like a good example. But if you click on, okay, these guys just non-stop are coming. This is a bad timing for this. If you click on this, and then you have another one that is demolition, and at this point, if I click right as the target bar finishes, the character is gonna go to the next demolition job that is nearby, and is gonna start doing it while detonating the previous one, right? So you don't have to wait for him to like go back and set everything up and then detonate stuff. So you can actually do it a little bit quicker than that. So it's like a little animation cancel, but I would have to find like a good job to showcase that. So it would have to be like demolition job. We can maybe try to find blueprint with demolition. That is one of the trash ones, right? So is there a lot of demolition stuff in here? So this would be like maybe uniques or something, right? That could be demolition and demolition level 3. So I can try revealing that, reveal blueprint details. And we can try revealing some of these. This is demolition, this is demolition, I think. So that would be the wing that I want to showcase. And then we can assign the people to their jobs. You want to also pick Niles instead of Gianna. Gianna, you know, doesn't give any reveals for running blueprints, and Niles can open one chest, similarly to not Huck, the other guy. What's his name? Tibbs. Yeah. Similarly to Tibbs, he can open that, so it's very valuable to pick him. And then we can pick this guy and this guy as well. All right. So let me try to showcase this little animation cancel, so that you guys see how it works exactly. So we're gonna try to find the wing with the catalyst. The catalyst metamorph is also okay. Like if you have it already revealed, it's pretty worth doing. Okay, this is the right one. Oh, there's also blight. Blight is also demolition, I think. And while you're like killing monsters, you can like have them do different jobs. You always want to be like pressing your hotkey and making them use their jobs. So I'm gonna press 1, and then as it goes, like I'm gonna do this one actually. I'm gonna press it. When it goes, the progress bar goes to the end and it finishes. Then I'm gonna press the other one, right? So we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this, right? So he detonates it automatically and cancels the animation, and then you don't have to wait for that to just wait for him to glitch and do that stuff. So you can do this very, very quickly. So that's why I wanted to show this, because it's actually very useful and saves you a lot of time. Okay, so that's basically it when it comes to this. So we went over reward priority, evaluating blueprints, revealing, splitting, example, job assignment, demonstration, micro tips. Okay, gem price checking. That's a very, very useful thing. So I'm gonna show you something called OCR. Okay, so we got this in Awakened POE trade. We got this option where you can type gem name. Let's say you go cast when damage taken, divergent, 3.6 divine. Holy shit, right? Super expensive. So you can very quickly, and then you go poisonous concoction, divergent, 7 chaos, right? And you can type and then you can reset. But there's a quicker way of doing this. I'm gonna link you guys in chat something called the OCR. So I'm gonna link it here, and then everybody can see that. I'm gonna link this in the description of the video as well. I'm gonna make sure it's on screen capture now, and we're gonna grab a quick gem blueprint. So some random trash gem blueprint. We're gonna make sure, actually I don't need to, okay, reveal blueprint details, fine. We're just gonna waste some reveals, doesn't matter. Fine, okay. Then I'm gonna assign some people, and I'm gonna show you how to very, very quickly evaluate gems, like quicker than you would expect. Okay, let's put all the right people. These are actually not great in terms of who I can put here. Okay, this is quite atrocious, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna run to the end to showcase the price checking. Okay, so let's go into the blueprint, and you can bind this to any hotkey you want. Everything is in the instructions in the link. I'm just gonna demonstrate how it works, right? So we're just gonna disable the traps. These are very deadly, never run through them, and sometimes very like thing that's gonna kill you. So I guess I'm gonna teach you on my mistakes. If you're running back, sometimes like you're running back and you look at the target, nothing is worth picking up, but let's say you didn't have enough alert to open all of these chests. So you just open these like currencies and then you're running back. And as you're running back, imagine like you just open this chest, reducing the alert to be like 2 seconds, and then you're running back, and then alert triggers. And then you're running through the middle of a minefield, right? So you instantly die. So that's something you want to avoid. That's a way I died once or twice before. So you can learn on that mistake and not do this yourself. Oh, by the way, I see I triggered the job before opening the door. You can totally go like across the door, and you don't have to wait, right? So look how quickly I'm gonna price check everything. So this is reset. So I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I know which one is good, right? The Divergent Dark Pact, which was here, right? So you can very quickly look it up, and this is the price check. That's how quickly you can do this, right? So you just grab this one and leave. Right? Actually, this one is not really worth grabbing, right? But that's basically how quickly you can price check with this tool, right? So the link is gonna be in the description. And that's just another thing that I wanted to showcase that basically increases the time that you can run these by a lot. So it's a super, super useful tool that you can use. All right, next thing I want to talk about is the trinkets, right? So that's going to be the last thing for the guide before the Q&A. We're going to basically look at the trinkets. Are the trinkets worth it? Which trinkets should we get? When to get them, and so on. Number one trinket that you want to get if you're going to be running the strategy this way is the Smuggler's Caches have 10% chance to duplicate contained rogue markers. This trinket right now is worth, let me see, 10%. It is worth 70 chaos, right? It goes up to like 1, sometimes it's gonna be like 50, sometimes it's gonna be 1 divine. Right now it's 70 chaos. The earlier you get it, the better. It's basically increasing the amount of rogue markers you're getting in your maps by 10%. There's also a modifier, chance to duplicate contain rogue markers for monster drops. That is virtually worthless. The monsters drop almost nothing in terms of the rogue markers. It's useless. So you want to get the one that says Smuggler's Caches have chance to duplicate, not the other one. This is the good one. So that's number one. So I have this trinket for mapping. And then you can have a trinket that has chance for Regal Orbs to drop as Divine, Chaos Orb to drop as Divine, chance for Transmutations, Alterations to drop as Chaos, quantity, chance to duplicate loot. So what is worth getting? First of all, I wouldn't bother buying Trinket until you can get like the regal one, right? So you're just gonna find some trinket that says transform something into chaos, duplicate basic currency. Whatever you find, whatever has the highest numbers on it, that's what you're gonna run early on from just finding it in your own blueprints. And then you're gonna be able to buy the regal one for maybe like 1 divine or 2 divines. If you run with it for a week, you're gonna basically pay that off, and then later you're gonna sell it off, and it's gonna be not a big deal. You're just gonna get some extra currency. But this one is a big investment. That's why this trinket is, if you're gonna get it, you wanna get it as early as possible. You wanna try to talk to the people selling them, because the people selling them might also really want to get rid of them quickly, or maybe they're just not even interested in selling them. So you might want to talk to them and ask, hey, would you be willing to accept this offer or not? But don't give them cancer. Just if they say no, just say, okay, that's fine, I'll farm some more currency, because these are very, very expensive, right? And it's gonna take a very long time for them to pay out. So this is not something that I recommend for everybody. This is only for people who can afford it, and only for people who are committed to running Heist for a long time, because I cannot guarantee that the price is gonna increase or decrease or go sideways. I have no idea, right? I remember that 2 leagues ago or 3 leagues ago, when I played last time with this trinket, I bought it and then I sold it for more, and then during the duration I also farmed like 60 divines, right? So I made like 70 divines profit or something like that on this trinket. Right now I bought this for like 75 divines. Right now it costs 120. So if I sold it now, I would have made like 50 divines almost. And I farmed already a few divines with it, but I'm intending on running with it for a few weeks and then selling it, right? But this is very, very expensive. The other way to read this stat, by the way, like basically divines are gonna soon get to, they're already like 184. They're reaching 200 chaos soon. So if you assume 200 chaos equals 1 divine roughly, then this basically says every chaos orb you drop is worth 3 chaos orbs instead, right? So instead of getting 100% of your chaos orbs, you get 300% of your chaos orbs, right? So 200% extra for every chaos orb you drop 2 extra, right? That's how you want to look at it, right? Over a long time, that's how it's going to work out. You, of course, going to have times where you play all day and you don't drop a single divine, and then you're going to have times where you do 1 blueprint and you drop 4, right? So this is very, very highly random, and humans are very bad at telling large numbers intuitively. So it's very hard for people to feel like, is it working correctly? Is it not? People usually think it's not working, but I can assure you it is working. It's just a very, very large number. 1%, like 1 in 100 is higher than people estimate. So it's gonna pay off over like 2 weeks, and then you can resell it as well, right? So do it at your own volition. If you intend to run Heist for a long time, I can definitely assure you that it is worth it, in my opinion, but it's kind of up to you. So now we're basically gonna move to Q&A. So I'm gonna look at chat and see if there are any questions. Why don't they target? Yeah, I was just doing demonstrations, so that's why I wasn't taking the target. What else do we have? I think you can make the terrain totally transparent. Oh yeah, you can have the map overlay. It's very useful in Heist, because in Heist you're basically only looking at the map thing, right? So you want to be have the settings adjusted to however you like it. You can go to UI and you have landscape transparency. This is doing this. This is for me very confusing, so I never have this on. And then map transparency, make it however you like, and then map zoom I have it the lowest possible, because I want to see as much of the map as possible, right? Like playing with something like this, that's completely useless to me. I want to see as much as possible on this, right? I can see the whole Heist, and then I just zoom, right? And yeah, that's basically how I play with that. I watched your viz, just did not get if you can clarify on League Start. Use Heisting at campaign, buying contract every level, and with hitting maps you would buy contract from shop every level while progressing. Yeah, so basically at level 60, it works a little bit differently now, this league since they made some changes. When your character is level 60, then the contracts are gonna be level 60. When the contracts are level 60, Then the area is level 60, which means the items dropping are level 60, which means you can use them for Chaos Recipe. So that's why from level 60, basically I do the campaign, I do my 3 labs, I'm in Act 10, the beginning of Act 10, and every level I was basically buying contracts until that time, from level 60 to like level 62 or whatever, because I went through the campaign pretty quickly. And then I started running contracts in every level. The shop would reset as my character levels, and basically I just buy all of the lockpicking and demolition, and I just continued doing this until like level 70 something, right? That's basically it. How to enchant contracts. The enchanted contracts come from Sextant modifier that says non-unique heist contracts found in your maps have an additional implicit modifier, right? That's how you get the enchanted contracts. What's my current movement speed? It goes up to like 400 when I have the phase run. You can put phase run on left click no matter what character you're playing. If you put some increased duration, you can link it with increased duration, and you can also link it with enhance, and the quality on the phase run gives you increased movement speed. So if you run like, for example, ashes plus enhance, you can have huge amount of movement speed on phase run, basically on the left click automatically, and that's going to be a huge boost to you, right? And this character is pretty good for that. We're running Devoto, we're running Queen of the Forest, we're running tons of different nodes that give me movement speed here. This gives me movement speed, onslaught effect. While I have perma onslaught, we get movement speed here, movement speed here, movement speed here. So we get tons of movement speed on this character. When hitting maps where you're rushing completion atlas or just slowly progressing by contracts with each level and farm them in the meanwhile. So it a little bit depends on your skill as a player and your build strength. Like with me, I could push to T14s immediately and farm that for my currency. With this gear, right? Like instead of Mage Blood and instead of this bow, I had Ascent from the Flesh, which is 1 chaos unique, and then 5 link Quill Rain, and then Karui Ward, and just so my gear was worth like 90 chaos together with the Cluster Jewel, and that was enough for me to farm area level 81, right? Area level 81 is enough for you to get level 84 items in your blueprints, such as like the different bases that you're gonna be selling, like the Simplex amulets and geodesic rings and different things like that, and different like pneumatic daggers and stuff like that that's gonna sell. They show all POE settings. I mean, there's a lot of different settings. Just look through the settings and pick whatever you like for yourself, you know. There is nothing special that I have here. Yep. What else do we have? Chat to the answer, don't need contracts. Yep. Rogue gear. Yep, we already can also share your hideout. Yeah, I can share it on the Discord later. What Pantheon are you using? I'm using right now the Lunaris for some extra speed, and Relakesh for reduced bleed damage while running, in case I get hit by some nasty bleed, but the Pantheons don't really matter much. It depends on your... Oh, we got disconnected. It depends on your rest of your character setup, right? It's completely something you wanna basically adjust based your own needs. Like if I get some bleed immunity on something, then I'm gonna drop that from the Pantheon, right? Pantheons are not really a big deal. Do you have a guide for your most current Atlas build, rogue builds and items? Like the rogue items and stuff, that's in this guide, so you can check out the VOD if you missed that. And the Atlas build is covered in that as well. Level 76 contracts don't give me reveals anymore. I'm level 85 now. What contract levels should you run for reveals compared to your character level? So every contract above level 67 is gonna give you a reveal. So if you're gonna run level 68, it is gonna give you reveals. But when it comes to the 67 and below, you need to be within 3 levels, I think. So yeah, if you're 3 or more levels, then you're not gonna get it. What else do you have? That's black magic. Yeah, that maybe was referring to the animation console. What else do we have? It's okay. What else? What's the threshold for splitting contracts? 12 plus rewards. Yeah, it depends a little bit on the trinket that you have. Certainly, like 12 rewards should be decent enough. Like basically, it depends on how much you would pay for it, right? So let's see. Let me find like a good one, something that's juicy. Okay, something like this, 9 currency rewards, I would copy because I have the trinket, right? I would split that. Without the trinket, I maybe would not split that, right? Because I can access these pretty often, right? But yeah, even I would maybe split something like this with the trinket. But yeah, certainly something like this, yeah. This is like 16, right? Really good rewards. That's definitely worth splitting. That's 12 good rewards. That's also probably good for splitting. Yes, I think 12 is probably a decent number. Probably not below that. Yeah. Is it okay to run Heist as RF Jug or better to make Fast Runner? You can totally run it as RF Jug. Just make your RF Jug faster, right? So use phase run on left click, for example, right? Use the phase run tech on left click. That's gonna be a huge difference, right? Pick up some passives or anoints for movement speed. For example, there's like a good anoint with freedom of movement, right? 10% movement speed while phasing. If you have phasing flask, make sure you have flasks that have really good uptime, right? So get good flasks, right? Basically, if you make your RF jug faster, you're gonna be just fine for running contracts. How do you split contracts? You split them. So you want to split blueprints, not contracts. And you split them with, for example, fracturing orbs, right? So you get a resonator and a fracturing fossil, and you make sure that it's rare, and then you just get one of those things, right? You put one of these into one of these, and then you use it like a chaos orb, right? on one of those. So that's something that would be worth splitting. You can also split it with the beast. I think it's called Phenomenal Plague Arachnid. Beasts are pretty expensive though, but they should be usually the same level. How you farmed blueprints so fast? Yeah, I was showcasing earlier how I farm blueprints. So the whole strategy of farming blueprints and contracts, I farm it all myself. Like all of this stuff that you see here on the left side, those are farmed today, right? So that all was farmed today. Would Gathering Forced Forbidden Flesh be worth it? So Gathering Force, I think, is the tailwind, right, from Deadeye. I think it's not worth it. It's not worth it because that's a very old Atlas command. It's not worth it because it's conditional. You need to be attacking to get it, right? If you're not attacking, then you're losing it. And so as you're just running, you're losing that. So that's why a Raider is the best ascendancy, because it has the permanent onslaught and phasing. You don't need to do anything to have it up, right? You have Tailwind all the time. You have Tailwind all the time, but then yeah, but you're getting the stacks give you increase, right? And you're not getting it's not really a big difference in terms of running. Like you might like the attack action speed on the boots is gonna do a similar thing for you, you know, on the implicit. Yeah, the Gale Force is increasing it, but it increases your Tailwind effect, right? Each stack increases your Tailwind effect. I would say it's not worth it in general. It doesn't give you enough. POB for this character, you can import my character in POB. You can just type Asmodeus POE account name. You can type exclamation mark profile to see my profile account name, and you can import that in POB to see that. Yeah, but any build can run. Suggesting build. Where was it? It's scrolling. What do you input in search function from stash after farming maps contracts? Oh, I went over that, so you can check out the VOD to see that. Using Queen of the Forest for Heist except TR. Any build. Virtually any build can use that, right? It's a super generic chest. It's life, res, and evasion. Anything that has the dex, right? So is on the right or the bottom side of the Atlas, not Atlas, this skill tree. Anything that's like on this side would be able to use it very easily, right? Because it has dex requirement, but if you're like scaling evasion in any way, basically anything is gonna be fine. Did you pick all heist nodes on Atlas? Yep, went over that in the guide. Can I split rare enchanted bow with just one more and double everything? Crucible tree. Yeah, you can do that. You can split items and double the crucible trees. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be basically what I'm gonna upload to the YouTube. It took a little bit over an hour, but it's great. We went over everything. If I have all enchanted and people said non-enchanted, what price? Whatever you can sell it for. I was selling my contracts that were enchanted. All of them are enchanted. I was selling them for half a chaos because these are the ones that I picked through, right? These don't have anything good anymore. These are just completely random. So I was selling that for half a chaos, but like 50 minimum, right? So I wouldn't do smaller trade than to like 25C. But yeah, that's basically it. We can turn off this thing. And yeah, if you still have some questions, I'm happy to answer. But that's gonna be it for the official criminal seminar. And thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for all the subs and primes and everything. And hopefully you guys learned something. If you missed it, it's gonna be in the vaults and it's gonna be also uploaded to YouTube later.